Racer fans, this may be the most important video you have watched of Gallop Racer, at least on this channel, in its entirety, and I'm not exaggerating. Why? Because we have updated stats, standings, leaderboards, and most importantly, my overall decisions on what I'm doing with this series for the longevity of this channel, and what improvements or changes we're going to make the smoothness of this go by better over the months and years that we continue to play Gallop Racer, because this game is never going anywhere for as long as I am here. Obviously, I'm playing Gallop Racer. It's just a matter of how often. Anyways, let's get started. Here are our leaderboards, guys. I've done a lot of work getting all this organized. As you can see, I have all the images of our horses with text there. The text is harder to see, possibly, but nonetheless, it's there, and it's really for me to see, and I'll read it out to you guys, and I'll let you know what row obviously we're on. So we have all of our horses here that we are currently racing with. Guys, I have 27 horses on my current playthrough, okay, which is why we're not making progress as far as getting through the game faster. So we're cutting down the size of the number of horses we'll be using from 27 down to ideally 12. It's going to be an extreme adjustment and a change for everyone, so I'm just saying prepare for it now. We're all on this journey together, and I'm saying we're going uphill. Make sure you have your resources, your backpack. It's going to be a tough march, but once we get up there, things are going to be a lot better. It's just we kind of have to get through this point. Just to let you also know a couple of things on this grid that you're looking at. Anything or any horse highlighted in green means this is a horse that's done extremely well across all the categories that I've ranked them for. And it also means they are a racehorse that I will be either continuing to race and or is almost a surefire decision for breeding long term, which is why they're probably going to still be racing on track. That's what we're doing for horses in green. Horses in blue are just colts, okay? It's just a gender thing. No big issue about that in deal. And obviously the remaining horses in pink are the fillies or mares. Kind of the same thing. So I kind of want to just walk you guys through what our horses are doing. This is going to be a long video. I don't know how long, at least over 30 minutes, I'm assuming. Maybe shorter, but I need to get all this done. So just to walk you through the categories, we'll go from top to left. Or top to left, gosh, left to right at the top. My goodness. Obviously, you see the horse names here. Their ranks as well in this category. For rank, you have the age, which is here where I'm highlighting with my mouse. We have record. This is how well they have finished in the top 3. It's the only stats you can record in this game anyway. So when we start off with, for example, our 6-year-old mare, double S ranked Little Mai, when it says 21 out of 24, that means she's finished in the top 3, 21 out of her 24 lifetime starts. That's what each of these stats mean for all of these horses going all the way down. So when you look here at Eastern Knife, double S ranked horse in this row, Eastern Knife, 24 starts, 24 finishes in the top 3, 100% record. You see the translation? That's essentially how this is going. For the record top 3 and the percentage, it's literally just the percentage of this record top 3 number. 21 out of 24 is 87%. So this shows you how often we're hitting in the top 3, which you guys know, money place finishes, that is my deal. And I apologize for actually not having Little Mai on screen right there. There she is. But wins, self-explanatory. How many times have they won? Grade 1 wins. You can see Eastside Band is by far the strongest in the group with 20, eclipsing everybody. Eastern Knife, he's the second best horse in our stable on my game by far. I am breeding those two, so I'm racing both of them until their retirements. And yeah, that's kind of a shoo-in thing. P2 finishes, that's important. The game keeps track of it as long as P3 finishes, right? So these are all the metrics, at least at a base value, that the game keeps in mind as long as your earnings. I just combined them both here for a total price. It's your gold earnings. So as you can see, again, using Little Mai as an example in the top row, 6 G1 wins, 3 P2 wins, 3 P2 finishes, second place finishes, 4 third place finishes, and she's earned a total of 126,000 in Gallop Racer currency combined. No one's over 200K yet. It's kind of my goal. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at for the first part of this series. We'll roll on to the more individual specifics here next. All right, guys. So now we're actually going to start looking at our top ranked horses. Now, I'm just going to go through the list of everyone here for this. There's going to be several parts to this entire video. So make sure, if you guys want anything important about what I'm doing in Gallop Racer, come back to this video. I promise you it's still going to be relevant for the next 3 months in real life. So from the time it's uploaded, which will most likely be late June, early July, this video will most likely still be relevant at least all the way through the rest of summer till early fall. So if you want to see where our horses are, what they've kind of looked like, again, this is halfway through the season in game. This is like April almost, so you can use that to kind of judge, okay, who's probably staying and going, but I'll let you guys know at the end of this video. So we'll go next to Rapid Blade. We kind of went through a little my stats. Rapid Blade, S-ranked 6-year-old mare, 20 out of 27 for top 3 finishes. She's 74%, 13 wins, 3 grade 1s, 3 second place finishes, 4 P3 finishes, total earnings of $93,000. Move on to Eastside Band, our best horse ever. Duh. Double S ranked 6-year-old mare, 25 out of 25. She's 100% across the board, 24 wins, 20 grade 1s, 1 P2 finish. That's the only time I have not won a race with her. And she has $191,000 in total earnings. Move on to Formal Method. Double S ranked. In fact, I won't even say the rank. You guys pretty much see it. 5-year-old mare. In fact, you see the age as well. 11 out of 16, 68%. So not too high. In fact, she's definitely lower on the record percentage. And that's, like, you guys know the history with Formal Method. 6 wins, 3 grade 1s, 4 P2 finishes, 1 P3 finish with only $51,000 in earnings. She's a horse that I'm going to be retiring unless I can get something going with her in her last potential dirt race. I'll just retire her and get her ready for next year. In fact, at least 12 to 16 of these horses are going to be retired within the next year for breeding. So guys, keep that in mind, and I'll explain that in the next section. Glam Queen, 5-year-old mare, 15 out of 15, also 100%, 12 wins, 5 grade 1 wins, 3 P2 finishes, total earnings of $109,000. Glam Queen's definitely a horse I will continue to race until her retirement. Naked Chariot to close off this second half of the bottom here. 6-year-old horse, 6 out of 11, 54%, 4 wins, no grade 1s, 2 second place finishes, $26,000. Naked Chariot's a slow burner. He's the exception of a horse that's not going to be considered for early retirement because, again, he doesn't even hit his peak until about now, and then we have to race him until he's 8 years old, but that's perfect. You know, I think he'll be a great dirt horse to maybe use with someone like Extreme Kick. I'm kind of thinking about those two. I'll mention Extreme Kick here as we go down the list. Move on to Pearly Ball. Pearly Ball, as you can see, 17 out of 19, 89%. Consistency in the top 3 there. 14 wins, 1 grade 1 win, 3 P3 finishes, and $115,000 in earnings there for Pearly Ball. Move on to the next horse. 6-year-old horse, Storm Owl, 19 out of 23. So Storm Owl's raced a lot, 82% in the top 3. 11 wins, 3 grade 1s, 6 P2 finishes, 2 P3 finishes with total earnings of $112,000. Move on to Eastern Knife. Talked about him earlier. Undefeated, essentially. 21 wins, 11 grade 1 wins, 3 P2 finishes, $180K. He's the second best ranked horse, clearly behind Eastside Band. Like I said, I'm planning on breeding those two unless I change my mind. There's no reason why not, right? Why we should. Next, move on to Angel Hearts, 14 out of 17 for this double S ranked 5-year-old horse, 82% in the top 3, 13 wins, 9 grade 1s. So Angel Hearts, I think he's actually like probably in the top 5 for grade 1 wins, so definitely something to consider. 1 P2 finish, $146,000 in earnings as well. Angel Hearts, definitely top 5 of our horses. And this is only one spreadsheet I'm showing you guys. I have to take you guys to the final tallies of who actually is like on quality based off of stats overall, the best horses in our barn. I'm just showing you everybody we're racing with. Move on next to Desert Runner. And I realize this is going to take way more time to go through all these, but you guys are here. It's important to let you know how everyone's doing. Desert Runner, 5-year-old, S-ranked horse, 9 out of 13, 69%. In the top 3, 6 wins, no graded stakes wins, 3 P2 finishes, only $31,000 in earnings. Irish Hill's next, 5-year-old C-ranked horse, 4 out of 10, 40%, 3 wins, 1 P3 finish, $11K. Irish Hill is a project horse and long burner. He has some good abilities, so we'll be racing Irish Hill until his retirement. And that concludes this set of horses. We'll go ahead and move on to Lockwood. All right, again, continuing with Lockwood here, double S ranked 5-year-old horse, 16 for 19 lifetime. 84% in the top 3, 10 wins, 6 grade 1s, 4 P2 finishes, 2 P3 finishes with $91,000 in earnings for Lockwood. Getting close to that 100K, that'll be a milestone mark for him. Next, move on to his stablemate, Marksman, 5-year-old double S ranked horse, 14 out of 20, 70% in the top 3, 11 wins, 3 grade 1s, 2 P2 finishes, 1 P3 finish with 85K. Marksman statistically is better between the two, so that's something that I'm keeping an eye out on. But they're both good, man. It's hard to kind of pass either of them up when you actually look at them more in detail, but again, we'll go ahead and watch how they progress. Move on next to the 4-year-old filly, Flying Home. She's been a blast. 12 out of 14, 85%. 10 wins, 6 grade 1s for her as well. 1 P2 finish, 1 P3 finish, 84K. Her and Marksman kind of chasing and doing the same thing. And Lockwood, actually all a part really of the same group of horses I think are achieving similar levels of success at their group. And they may... I think based off of what they've done now, they've all raced about 20 times. Guys, if we use this for real horse racing stats, of real horse racing translation, I guess I should say. Remember, some horses, you know, depending on how good they are, you know, whether they're competitive, whether the connections can or not, they don't race more than, you know, maybe a couple dozen times. So some of these horses I think are at the age where we could continue to race them for another couple of years, or we could retire them and they've done enough, or we should be able to get something. And I'm feeling that way about Lockwood, Marksman, Flying Home. A lot of these horses we're about to go through, some of them have raced enough, some of them need a little bit more time, but yeah, I think we're getting there. Move on next to Extreme Kick, though. Double S ranked 4-year-old filly, the daughter of the late great Secretariat. Mind you, Extreme Kick. She's important. She kind of has an asterisk next to her name, not physically, but in my brain, because again, she's one of the only performing daughters from Secretariat. We have to keep her around. Not to mention, she's actually starting to show a little bit more form. I may race her an extra year before considering her for retirement. We'll see. 10 out of 14 lifetime starts, 71% though. 4 wins, 2 grade 1s, 4 P2 finishes, 2 P3 finishes, 42K. Definitely have to improve her stats, but again, it's now or never for Extreme Kick as far as seeing what the longevity is for her racing career beyond this season. Next, move on to Heart of Stone. C-ranked 3-year-old filly. You'll start seeing some of the lower ranked horses in the mix here. She's 5 out of 6 though, so 83%, really good for a 3-year-old filly. 2 wins, 1 P2 finish, 2 P3 finishes, 10K in earnings. Next, move on to her stablemate, Phoenix Rising, 3-year-old C-ranked filly. She's also very good, 4 out of 5 lifetime starts, 80%. In the top 3, 3 wins, 1 P2 finish with 16K there for Phoenix Rising. Move on again to another one of their stablemates, You Made Me Promise, aka You Made Me Promises. Not bad at all. 6 out of 8 lifetime starts for this filly as well. 75%, 4 wins, 2 P2 finishes, 11K. Obviously, you're seeing a pattern with these 3, obviously 3-year-old fillies. Yeah, they're all very consistent. They have rarely missed the board. They're clearly going to be broodmares of the future, but again, we have time to race them as they'll be moving up. As other horses are moving out and into the breeding barns and the pastures. So next we move on to, I believe it's going to be Cafe Bronco. Cafe Bronco, Mr. Bronco. Getting to the end here. Cafe Bronco, S-ranked 4-year-old colt. 9 out of 12, not bad for Cafe Bronco. 75%, 8 wins, 2 grade 1s, 1 P2 finish, and 49K. Still feel like he's underachieved. If you guys have been paying attention, you would probably agree. So kind of, I'm on the fence about Cafe Bronco. Unless he starts to really impress me, I don't mind skipping out on not using him for breeding. But I think he's tied to an important pedigree, so I'll have to double check that with Cafe Bronco. One next to Green Crystal. And keep in mind, I'm not showing the horses on screen because I'm literally just reading the stats for you guys. Like, you already see the horses' images there, so that's, in the actual screenshot, so that's all I'll do. I just like that. The main avatar of where we're starting for each section on screen. Green Crystal, again, double S ranked, 11 out of 11, undefeated, 8 wins, 7 grade 1s for Green Crystal, 1 P2 finish, 2 P3 finishes, 79K. And last but not least, to close off at least this particular section, will be Precious Scene, double S ranked 4-year-old colt, also undefeated, very similar to stablemate Green Crystal. 11 wins instead, 4 grade 1s, no finishes anywhere else, and 63K for Precious Scene, obviously keeping that in mind. Technically speaking, they've both done enough where I could retire them and we could get some awesome horses for them, and that's not an exaggeration. So undefeated, we may have to consider it. I am thinking about it. I want to focus on other things. A couple more parts. All right, everyone, this is the last part here of at least the initial stats of just all of our horses. We'll kick off with Revenge. S-ranked 4-year-old colt, Revenge here. 9 out of 11, 81% in top 3, 6 wins, 3 grade 1s, 2 P2 finishes, 1 P3, 35K lower on the earnings for Revenge. Definitely got to make some work there. Next, we move on to a stablemate Rocky Hurricane, 4-year-old colt, double S ranked, 10 out of 14, 71% in the top 3, 7 wins, 2 grade 1s, 2 P2 finishes, 1 P3 finish, 44K. Low on the earnings as well. Next, Whispering Gold. Whispering Gold is underratedly good. He's one of my best horses. Don't let the stats fool you. 9 out of 9, undefeated, and the top 3 finishes in that regards. 5 wins, 3 grade 1s already, 4 P2 finishes with already 46K in earnings. Yeah, Whispering Colt, I think, Whispering Gold is 4-year-old Colt. Exceptionally good, extremely consistent, really reliable, has never really given me a problem at all. We've just had fields with tougher races, and he was struggling earlier in his career, being a little bit more green. He's really hit his stride now as a 4-year-old. Next, we move on to Big Friday. A-ranked 3-year-old Colt here, 6 out of 8 lifetime starts in the top 3 and consistency. 75%, 3 wins, 3 P2 finishes as well. So yeah, 3 wins, 3 P2 finishes with $18,000 in earnings. And last but not least, Falling Stars, a B-ranked 3-year-old Colt, 5 out of 7 lifetime starts, 71% in the top 3, 5 wins, and $18,000 in earnings. So guys, this is the overall picture. What I've decided I'm going to do, and keep in mind, I've been thinking about this for months, okay? This is not something that just happened overnight. I'm just now getting to the point of finally like telling you guys what my plans are. Racing with too many horses, 27, too much for me to make progress, too much for me to even be motivated to play the game, to be honest. That's why the series has been stagnated. The max number I'm keeping myself to is 12, and that's kind of like a Nuzlocke challenge I'm also doing as part of this series. That's a new thing to make it a little bit more challenging. Anybody can dominate in Gallop Racer if you're racing with 1,000 horses in your barn, right? Let's keep things concentrated to really having finite families, fine-tuned for certain distances, titles, records, and etc., right? That's the overarching goal I've been trying to reach. So with all of that being said, a lot of these horses are going to be retired by the end of this in-game season. Again, I'm in April, May of the in-game season, year 42. That means by the end of year 42, half of these horses, at least, are going to be retired and replacing breeding. Why? Because every horse back in our breeding barn we have already received foals from, at least 2 minimum. And at this point, I'd rather use one of these horses every year, keep the rotation fresh, and at least have very unique bloodlines and pedigrees that we can start expanding to. Mind you, we have to make sure inbreeding doesn't happen, and I'll again show you guys those stats and the charts, and if some of you want to help me in your off time and kind of take screenshots of the video to look through it in more detail, I would greatly appreciate that. But again, I think it's actually going to give us way better horses in a shorter time period and allow us to get to those horses quicker, because we're only going to be racing with like a dozen instead of 2 dozen, okay? Like if I'm racing with 2 dozen horses, guys, you know, 50% more, that means 50% more time to do every little thing about this series and about that racing. And you know what I mean? Like, I can't make progress. I need to save half of that time, and we'll make that progress. I guarantee it. So again, any horse highlighted in green on this screen means pretty much a horse I'm already considering for long-term breeding, which also means they're going to continue to race. The blue and the pink are for colts and fillies, but again, half of these horses will be retired for breeding by the end of this racing year. But guys, a lot of them have raced quite a bit. Like, there's a couple of horses that I think we still want to kind of see what works with them. Storm Owl, Marksman, I think, but they're safe horses to me. I'm going to use them for breeding anyways. Everybody else, I think we retire them. We'll have new horses in the breeding barn every year. It's going to be challenging, guys, but that is the point. I'm not just going to rely on just using the same broodmare and sire to get like 5 of the same amazing horses. I'm going to make it challenging. I'm going to have to avoid inbreeding to the best of our ability, and we're going to try to find one amazingly compatible breeding pair for each combination we need, and then as soon as we get that foal, that's it. Those parents are done, and we move on to the next. With the exception of Eastside Band and Eastern Knife, they'll have long-term positions. We'll have long-term sires and broodmares like that, but as far as everyone we've used, I kind of want a new slate, and I'm hoping some of you also agree might be the best plan. A couple more parts to go here as we get into the final rankings. All right, so this is where things get really serious, because this is where all the stats, all the organization, everything we've been doing, this is where it matters for determining the best horses in the series. You guys are seeing everything on screen right now. Just going to go through it in more detail. Also probably have a screen somewhere cropped of our broodmare list as well of horses, and then I'll show you the studs halfway through. We're going to start off with winning record on the left in this first column. These are all our undefeated horses that have never finished lower than 3rd place. Okay, guys, that's a huge milestone. That means these are our true racehorses on our hands. Eastside Band, Eastern Knife, Glam Queen, Green Crystal, Whispering Gold. I told you, he's never finished worse than 3rd as a 4-year-old colt. That's really impressive. With, I think, what, 3 grade 1s? So he's a real hitter. Gracious Scene, Pearly Ball at 89% in the top 3, Little Mine at 89% in the top 3. Those are our 8, I think, or 7 best ranked record horses. So these are horses I'm going to continue to race regardless. They're not going to be considered for early breeding. Maybe, I think, Little My, Pearly Ball, I want to continue to raise. Precious Scene and Green Crystal, I'm kind of indifferent about. I've played with them in other games. I got them because they're reliable, they're easy. They're both undefeated, again, in the top 3. I could retire them now. We could get amazing horses in the next 2-3 years, right? Like, racing them just to race them, I'm not doing that anymore. I think sometimes I'll get comments saying, oh, race this horse longer. No, I'm not doing it because, like, it's not something I want to do. I'm not going to keep over-explaining that, right? I probably sound like a broken record, so... yeah, Precious Scene and Green Crystal, considering for early retirement. Everybody else, with the exception of Little My, I'm going to continue to race because they're too good. And I'm still enjoying, like, playing and racing with them. Like I said, I've played with Green Crystal and Precious Scene and other Gallop Racer titles. Move on to wins now. The next column in the middle. As you can see here, Eastside Band, she's dominating with 24 wins in her career. Eastern Knife, though, with 21. He's chasing her. So only 3 behind in 2nd place. Pearly Ball with 14, tied with Little My technically for 3rd. So Pearly Ball and Little My, that would be an interesting breeding combination, wouldn't it? Pearly Ball and Little My. And we don't have to worry about inbreeding because Pearly Ball is an in-game horse. Same thing with Eastern Knife and Eastside Band. I'm liking the idea of that so far, just in thought. Next, we move on to Angel Hearts. 13 wins for that guy. So that colt's doing pretty good. Rapid Blade, our 6-year-old mare. She has 13 wins to her name. Glam Queen, the mare, also with 12 wins to her name. Precious Scene with 11. Storm Owl with 11. The S-ranked horse sneaking up here. Marksman also with 11. Flying Home, she has 10 wins to her name. Lockwood. Remember, I told you, Storm Owl, Marksman, Flying Home, Lockwood, all born, I think, at the same time, or, well, within 1 or 2 years of each other. They're generally within the same racing crop, I consider. So you see how they're doing on wins, but it's a clear difference between the top and the bottom. Everybody else is kind of just hanging out in the middle, right? More or less at that like 12 to 13 win range, which isn't bad. But again, to me, it's enough where we could retire half of these horses now and probably get even better horses right at this point, right? Every horse you don't need to race 50 times, at least I don't believe so. Maybe for certain challenges, titles, sure, but next, we move on. Grade 1 wins. Again, Eastside Band dominating 20. No one else in this group that I'm racing currently has even hit double digits. Angel Hearts, he's close. He's 1 more away. He has 9 in 2nd place. Green Crystal has 7 in 3rd. Little My has 6 Grade 1 wins in 4th. Flying Home also with 6 in 4th. Lockwood also with 6 in 4th. Glam Queen, she has 5 Grade 1 wins. Precious Scene with 4 Grade 1 wins. And Rapid Blade with 3. Guys, these are my highest Grade 1 winning horses. So... Rapid Blade, right? She looked like she was struggling, not going to make it. She's put herself at the very bottom, but she's on this board of really, really great Grade 1 winners. But you can see there's a clear difference between Eastside Band and the rest of the group, and Angel Hearts is quite clearly clear. And then everybody else, again, kind of chasing. It's the story here. P2 finishes as well. Storm Owl, he's the MVP here. 6 P2 finishes, extremely consistent. Lockwood with 4 P2 finishes. Formal Method with 4. Whispering Gold and Extreme Kick, all with 4 P2 finishes there. Desert Runner has 3. That's great for him. Remember, he's my project horse. Big Friday hits the board with 3 for P2 finishes, and Eastern Knife as well for 3. So you guys are getting the overall picture. One more category to go over, and then I'll give you guys my overall thoughts on everything that we're doing, or at least everything we're going to be doing to summarize the next couple of months in this game. All right, my friends across the world. I'm so honored I get to say that, honestly. I really hope I get to meet some of you at some races and some tracks, obviously, throughout our lifetime at some point. Moving on to the last 3 categories. We just went over P2 finishes on the left. You can kind of ignore that. We're looking to the middle and the right columns of P3 finishes and earnings total. P3 finishes, Little My with 4, tied with Rapid Blade for 1st place. Pearly Ball in there in 2nd with 3 P3 finishes. And then it's a bunch of horses all tied with 2. That's Storm Out, Lockwood, Extreme Kick, Heart of Stone hitting the board there finally, and Green Crystal. So, you guys are probably seeing a pattern, right? You're seeing the same horses and the same names pop up. These are our best ranked horses based off of the Gallop Racer main metrics alone, right? You're seeing who's consistently in the top 3. And again, these are horses that if they're still green, I want to continue to race them, because to me, we're going to get like the super horses from all of the current fillies, mares, colts that you're seeing on screen. I think if we continue to race them, they're going to really give us, you know, the game-breaking horses that we want, like Eastside Band, right? That's kind of what you're looking at on screen right now. Eastside Band was technically created from a family of horses that looked like this on screen statistically. So it's a method I've been doing for years. It's how I play Gallop Racer. I know it's not popular, and I know it might drive people nuts, but it's just a little bit longer. Now I'm fine-tuning. I'm cutting off all the excess weight, and we're getting to making this machine really a high-rolling one to get more Eastside Band type of horses. Like that's obviously the dream. Last column and category over to the right, earnings total. I don't know why I have Eastside Band and Eastern Knife in different places. I'm just kind of going to do a quick edit here. Don't mind any of this. Yeah, that's weird, but who cares? And also, as you can see, as quickly as I did that, it's just easier for me to do things in like Google spreadsheets. That's just how my brain works. I know we all probably have different little quirky things of how we keep track of our stats. But now we are finally organized for this last column. Total earners, highest earners, Eastside Band. She's so close, 9K away from 200K. She's sitting there at the top with 191. Eastern Knife chasing her, 180,000. Angel Hearts, 146K. Angel Hearts, he's been quiet, right? I know he's extremely well, and I've kind of, as you've probably seen in the recent episodes over the last couple of weeks to month or so, dropped maybe a couple races with him, but still my third highest performer. Little Mai, she's had a heck of a career. She's sitting there in fourth with 126K. Pearly Ball, 115K. Pearly Ball is too good for me to retire anytime soon. I'm definitely racing him until the end, and he's like one of only, I think he's the only horse from Silver, the trainer, that I'm even racing, so keep that in mind as well. Storm Owl, the big boy, getting to the board here with 112K. I told you, Storm Owl really looked, I swear to you, he looked so suspicious in the beginning, like we were maybe going to lose him, or he wasn't going to be that reliable of a racehorse. And in fact, as you can see, he's extremely reliable. As I say, reliable twice or 3 times there. Maybe that's a name for a horse we should consider. Next, move on to Glam Queen. $109,000 in earnings for her. Again, Glam Queen, she's safe. She's been reliable. I've been chasing bigger races for her. I think I'm realizing she's probably at the point I need to start settling her for grade 2s and grade 3s. We can chase that for her until I think she's ready for retirement. Last 2 horses are Rapid Blade and Lockwood. I would say essentially splitting 91 to 92K a piece there in earnings as well. So guys, this is our entire board of my best ranked horses currently in Gallop Racer, as you see as I move over. The record I told you about, most of the horses are undefeated as far as top 3 finishes, but this is what really matters in regards to the hardcore stats of wins and everything else. So yeah, my last thoughts in regards to what I'm doing and how I'm going to treat the next couple of in-game months to years. That's what's coming up, and then the final conclusion. So I hope you guys have stayed tuned. Stuck through all the way. You're a trooper. You're someone I can rely on. You're someone I can trust. We're here at the end. My final conclusion based off of everything that's going on, and you can also see on screen as well just the names of our 2-year-olds, or excuse me, our 1-year-olds, or yearlings, that'll be making their racing debuts in year 43 of our game. You can see 5-star Westwood Village. She's going to be the half-sister of Eastside Band. Keep that in mind. So, yeah, Stars Align by Galaxy Star. She's probably going to be her own Eastside Band, or he's going to be his own Eastside Band. I think Stars Align is a colt. Yeah, no, Philly. I'm thinking of Falling Stars that I'm racing with now. Queens Valley not looking too good, but point being, after this group of yearlings, we'll have nothing for, we skipped a year. We'll have 3 horses after that. And then if I breed half of our horses that we're retiring this year into next season, and let's say they all conceive, that'll be what, 8 times 2, 16 total horses with 18, or excuse me, with 8 potential foals obviously to come. If they all work and everything goes down as planned, then we'll have 8 additional yearlings. Probably after that is when I'll skip another year, right? And then just continue to retire horses. We may have that next batch of horses sit a year, but this is what I mean. if I retire horses earlier in their careers, guys, we're not going to have as much of that headache worrying if the mare is going to conceive. I usually retire my horses well after 6 or 7, right? So that's why we only have so much time. If I can retire horses at 4 and 5, that gives us an extra year or two that we don't even have to worry about breeding. We can just have them sitting there as we kind of continue to go through quicker racing, getting more horses, figuring out who's staying, who's going, right? That's my plan. I'm sticking to it. No one's going to talk me off that. So I'm just kind of letting you guys know that's my plan for the game, so I can make progress, and most importantly, we can make progress as well. So again, the horses you've seen on screen, you're seeing on screen highlighted in yellow, these are horses, most of them I'm going to continue to race. That's what I'm saying. And everyone else that's not even on this board, there are horses that will probably be in the transition of an early retirement at the end of this in-game year. That's just the hard decision we have to make, but let's be honest, we've raced with most of these horses enough. And just some side notes here as well. I kept track of it kind of like a Formula One stat, or I should say statistic leaderboard type of thing as far as podiums and whatnot. Eastside Band has 3 wins. When I say 3 wins, I'm referring to the stats only on this screen in these columns. If you are in first place, that counts as a win. As you can see, Eastside Band, she leads in record percentage, she leads in wins, and she leads in grade 1s. Therefore, she has 3 wins, and then she also received a podium for being in one of the other categories over to the right, which would have been probably earnings or P3 finish, but we don't even have to look at those right now. So that's just how that works. Hopefully that made sense. Eastside Knife, or excuse me, Eastern Knife, for example. Eastside Knife. Should that be the name of Eastside Band and Eastern Knife's foal or colts, whatever it is? Should we just name it Eastside Knife? Sounds a little edgy, but I don't know. I mean, you have Eastern Knife and an Eastside Band. It seems like it works. You guys let me know. We can always go somewhere else with that name, but I still think it's important to keep the parents in there. Anyways, Eastern Knife has 1 win on this screen with 2 podiums. That's important, hence why I'm obviously saving both of them for breeding. Storm Owl and Little Mai both have at least 1 win in a column in a category here on this page. Pearly Ball and Angel Hearts both have 2 podiums, and podiums means they weren't ranked in the first of that category, but they were at least in the top 3 of that category. Glam Queen, Green Crystal, Lockwood, Formal Method, and Rapid Blade all have a podium, which means they all at least were featured somewhere in the top 3 on this page. For example, Rapid Blade, she's featured in the top 3. She's second place for P3 finishes, right? You know, that's an example. Formal Method, she's second here for P2 finishes, or she's third for P2 finishes, with her 4 finishes in second place. Storm Owl, again, he leads. You see what I'm kind of gathering and hinting at. So that's the plan, guys. As far as what horses I'm gonna, retire early, I don't know definitively yet. But like I said, I'm aiming for 16. I really want to downsize, and I'm very serious when I say that. So I feel like we've raced with enough of them. There's some horses I'm going to continue to race because we have to. Everyone else, it's going to be fair game, but I think this is actually going to make things a lot better. So, yeah, I think that's kind of the overall summary of everything that I wanted to share with you guys today here in regards to our playthrough here with 2004. We have reached the end of the journey here for this video and today, but this is probably one of the better parts for some of you that are really immersed into our playthrough in our series. The breeding, the charts, it's not organized, but everything is here. I'll show you how it cross-references, and most of you are smart enough to figure that out already. Studs will obviously all be on the left, all on this column. Brood mares are all across the top. And if you want to find out who they've created or who's been produced, obviously you go ahead and do cross-reference. You start with Swab Buster, for example. This mare, this brood mare, and the stud Western Tiger. In fact, go ahead and just highlight them in a different color. I'll just highlight them green if I can. So Swab Buster and Western Tiger, they produced Flying Cowboy, right? That's that right there. If you want to look at who else has come from Swab Buster, Chasing Hearts, except her father, in this case, was Arctic Crop in the red here. Long Live Bolero also came from from Swab Buster, but his father was Onyx Prince, right? So hopefully anybody that's actually keeping up with the pedigrees, that's how this chart looks. So you can see everything on screen right now. I'm just going to leave it there for a second. You can screenshot it even as I'm talking, especially if you're watching this on mobile. If it's desktop, I'm sure you probably have a capture screen recorder or whatever print screen, doesn't matter. This is one section of it, just leaving this up for a couple more seconds, and then I'll go to the other section, and I'll probably have to scroll down. In fact, maybe let me scroll down a little bit more first. I don't remember who's down here. Yeah, okay, so it's just Vivid Legend and Delta Dream. Blue. I don't know who Blue is. Yeah, don't just ignore that. I don't know if that was a horse I was supposed to put there. But yeah, this is essentially the sires and on the left, all the way down to Delta Dream and Western Tiger. In fact, it's all there right in one screen. So I'm just going to leave that up now. It's all of our sires on the left that we've used. Some may not have been recently updated yet. Don't worry about that too much. But keep in mind, any future sire is already probably in this spreadsheet. It's just one of the offspring that's in the middle, right? All right, so that's enough of the sires. Here's the broodmares at the top. Starts from Suave Buster, and apologize for that. I didn't even realize that was there. Oh my goodness. Irish Fleet at B. Night Breeze goes further over to the right. Again, I'll leave this on screen for a couple of seconds. You see all the horses, and again, I know you'll need a full picture of both, but I'm just kind of giving you guys just an overall look right now in a full screen view. You see we go all the way to Chasing Hearts, Butterfly Effect, Galaxy Star, Lee's Gold, Moon Trapper. It's quite an extensive list of broodmares all the way over to the right. Toxic Blonde, Scabbit, okay. So I will be making this file public at some point. I'm still making edits, which is why it's not public now. Like, I don't want to have it viewable until everything is finalized. That way I don't have to make any more changes. Otherwise, like, you guys will be looking at old data. So this is it in real time. So yeah, obviously you're seeing the main group of horses in this particular section. If I wanted to show you everyone, it would have to be a matter of like shrinking probably all these columns down, and that's something I might do, but I don't think that'd be practical. But like I said, I will have this viewable. But like, we have a lot of horses. That's the thing. I don't really expect any of you to like know all this in detail. This is organized for me to look at. You know, I don't create it with like the, you know, like a viewing mindset, but I'm sharing it with you guys. So, you know what I mean? This is kind of what we have going on here. It's a lot of horses. So when I talk about retiring 16 horses a year as like a default, yeah, it's going to be a lot, but the whole point is just so I can make progress in the game. Eventually, the pedigrees are going to be started on a new sheet. You know what I mean? Separate from this one, because again, we're kind of running out of space here. And I want to make sure I keep everything more condensed. That way we can look at everything on one screen. If anybody has even any ideas or ways that you actually implement your pedigrees, especially your long-term ones, any documents, files, methods, layouts, whatever it is, feel free. This is just easier for me to put them in here. I have my own separate thing that I'm not showing right now, but yeah, this is kind of what we have going on for all of our horses and breeding and our pedigrees right now. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, everyone, that is going to conclude it. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Very in-depth, but again, this is the most important update video I'm going to give you in regards to this series, because the entire trajectory of how I record, how I play the game changes from here on out, and I've told you every part of how I'm going to do that. I've been talking about it for months, maybe even a year at this point, but you know, it has not come to full circle. Obviously, this is today was full circle. Okay, there's nothing else I'm questioning, or you know what I mean, like it's completely set in stone. I'm just deciding which horses are going to be the 16, and I already know a handful that I'm going to put in there, and then the others, once I decide that, they'll move out to the barn and the pastures to enjoy the rest of their glorious days, and we'll continue to race with the top winning, top consistent, top earning horses, earning horses that we have. Earnings of horses. Gosh, it sounded so weird when I said that, but regardless, yeah, that's the plan. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. I don't think I have anything else to really add. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, comment section below, Discord as well, wherever you want to talk to me is fine. But if it's in the Discord, just make sure it's in the proper chat. But you guys could very well just shoot me a DM as well. Just making sure I'm not leaving anything out, that way I don't have to make another separate video. But yeah, like I said, it's going to be a lot of horses retired this year, ready to retire them. And like I said, I'm ready kind of for new lines. I think this has kind of been what 4 to 6 generations deep we've run so far. What you're seeing on screen right now, the last thing I'm showing you. Well, sorry, not showing you yet. Actually, let me go ahead and do a test. I thought this thing was on and it wasn't. So go ahead and do a quick test. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Interesting. Regardless, these yearlings you're looking at on screen, finally, right now, to me, they should be really the last major wave of this generation of Gallop Racer that we've played. I think they speak for that moment. And they're going to give birth to the next new generation. That's kind of how I want them to have their roles. Because some of... Like I said, I think 2 or 3 of these could be Eastside band horses or better easily. So, you know what I mean? It would be great to start off the next new wave and pedigree of horses with these fillies and colts eventually becoming sires and mares, actually being the forefront of those pedigrees. You know what I mean? Some of them very deep already. It's not like they're not going anywhere, but I'm saying we're only going to be able to see the most 3 recent ones anyways. You know what I mean? So we're kind of transitioning from the older time period of our Gallop Racer playthrough with the King Bee, Pink Gemstone, Moon Bee days. You know, even here, your Western Tiger, Desert Diver, Moon Trapper, right? Diamond Plan, Osmotum, Flying Cowboy, you know, Cleopatra, right? We're moving on from this generation of horses into an entirely new generation of horses that we have racing now. Connected, but getting further away from the original bloodline, right? That's the point. So I'm excited, but yeah, this group of yearlings, they are the last elite guard, I would call them. The elite, whatever you want to say, is as far as our HRG Dynasty is concerned, Elite 8 from Pokemon. That's not the Elite 8, but you guys get the point. Granted, I feel like really Pokemon can run an Elite anything and it matters and it counts. But this is it. So after this group, there's nothing here. The 3 foals that will be coming next year, they will be the first official crop of this new HRG Dynasty team. And just to remind you who those 3 foals will be coming from, in case you guys are curious which of your names may be decided, and I haven't even got to that part myself. Little Vixen, she'll have one with Secret Ending. Major River and Crazy Hunter both will have one with Formal Opera. They will be the new first official... I don't know if I'm going to call them teams. I kind of want to have this be a little bit more fun and enjoyable for you guys. I can make custom teams for our horses based off of pedigrees. You guys can give me any ideas in regards to that as well. Stables maybe can represent the teams itself. And it's a fun, friendly thing, just keeping track of our horses' stats. Not that we're actually competing against one another. But again, let me know your thoughts. Any ideas, comment section below. That's where everything is at. I'm going to be speeding through this, trying to get through as much of this year as possible. Dream Cup is the focus. End of the year is the focus. I have a lot of horses. I have to try to see who's capable of winning awards and not. So, yeah, I'm making those decisions now. I'm sure some of you may be like, no, don't retire this horse. If it ends up retired, it's literally nothing personal. I have to retire horses I don't even want to retire right now. But the thing is, it's going to be so much more worth it in 2 or 3 years when we finally get those foals and those yearlings and we can start getting those new families and pedigrees. This is an exciting time, guys. We're moving into a new transition. We're finally going to be title chasing, trying to hit records, and really seeing what we can do. It's going to take time. This is not going to be rushed or anything, but I need to get out of this funk of 27 horses racing a year. Like, they're just too much for me. And especially being a content creator, I can't do it. I can't make progress. It's way, way too much. So looking forward to downsizing and seeing what type of progress we make from there. Appreciate you all for love and support. Again, any ideas, comment section, Discord as well. Appreciate you guys. Much love. HRG signing out. Until next time, see you later, and goodbye.